Hello everyone. In this video, I want to talk about equivalent fractions, which is sometimes called similar fractions. Similar fractions. Similar fractions. Now, to explain this, I'm going to start with a fraction like 1/2, 1/2. Now, if I multiply 1/2 by 1, any number or anything multiplied by 1 is that same thing. I hope you agree with that. Any number or anything multiplied by 1 is that same thing. So that's the first thing you have to remember. Another thing is that, what about if I decide to do this? 1/2 times 2/2. Now, 2/2 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So multiplying 1/2 by 2/2 is still going to give me 1/2. I hope you caught that. You get that. Okay. So 1/2 times 2/2 equals 1/2. But someone might say, hold on a minute. How is it possible? Because if I multiply 1/2 by 2/2, literally, it doesn't give me 1/2. If you want to multiply fractions, you want to multiply that way and that way. So 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So that should give me 2/4. But if I reduce this fraction, that is 2/4, it should bring me to 1/2. Now, you might know that 2/4 is equal to 1/2. But let's reduce it real quick. Remember that we multiplied 1/2 by 2/2. Now, looking at the fraction 2/4, we are going to divide the top by 2 and divide the bottom by 2. 2 divided by 2 gives us a 1. 4 divided by 2 is a 2. Wow. So we multiplied 1/2 by 2/2, and then we are dividing 2/4 by 2 on top, 2 at the bottom, and that brings us back to 1/2. Again, let me repeat this. We multiplied 1/2 by 2/2, and that gave us 2/4. And then to reduce it or bring it back to 1/2, we divided 2 by 2, we divided 4 by 2, and that brings us to 1/2. So this is the idea of equivalent fractions. But let's do some more. So let's say that we have this fraction, 2/3, 2/3. Now, to create an equivalent fraction, I'm going to multiply by 1. But instead of multiplying by 1, I'm going to say that I'm multiplying by 3/3. Again, 3/3 is just 1. So I'm not changing the value of the fraction because 3/3 is 1. It's 1. So this should give us 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 6/9. Now, if I want to reduce 6/9 or bring it back to where I started from, then I'm going to divide the top by 3, which gives me 2, and I divide 9 by 3, which gives me 3. And that brings me back. So I multiply by 3/3, I divide by 3, and then 3 on top, and then at the bottom. Another one, 1/4. I want to create an equivalent fraction for 1/4, so I'm going to multiply by, let's do 5/5. You always want to do the number over that same number because that gives you 1. 1 times 5 is 5. 4 times 5 is 20. So 1 over 4 is equal to 5 over 20. 1 over 4 is an equivalent fraction of 5 over 20, or 5 over 20 is equivalent to 1 over 4. So to know that, or to see that, or to break it down, bring it back to 1 over 4, I'm going to divide by 5, divide by 5. This would give me a 1. This should give me a 4. That brings me back to 1 over 4. Okay, so I'm going to give you a problem to solve. And this is going to be create 3 fractions that are equivalent to 2 over 5. This is 2 over 5. So create 3 fractions that are equivalent to 2 over 5. Now, to create an equivalent fraction, remember you're multiplying the fraction by 1. So you could do 2 over 2, 3 over 3, 4 over 4, and then create these equivalent fractions out of the 2 over 5. So pause the video and see if you could do that. If you're not able to, I'm going to go over it, okay? All right. So I'm going to have 2 over 5 here times, I'm going to go with 2 over 2, which is 1. 2 times 2 on top is 4. 5 times 2 at the bottom is 10. Wow. So I've got my first equivalent fraction. Now I know that if I reduce 4 over 10, it's going to bring me to 2 over 5. I know that. Another one, 2 over 5 times 3 over 3. 2 times 3 on top is 6. 5 times 3 is 15. Boom, I've got a second one. The third one will be 2 over 5 again times, let's do 4 over 4. This should give me 2 times 4 on top is 8, and this is 20. So these 3 fractions are equivalent to 2 over 5. How do I know that? I know that I can reduce these fractions, and it's going to bring me to 2 over 5. Of course, I could keep going with this. I could multiply 2 over 5 by 5 over 5, 6 over 6, 7 over 7, 8 over 8, 9 over 9, 10 over 10, and create multiple fractions or equivalent fractions from this. All right. So another one, it's your turn. If you couldn't do this first one, how about trying this? So create 3 fractions that are equivalent to, let's do Mm, let's do 3 over 4, 3/4. So see if you could create 3 fractions that are equivalent to 3 over 4. Pause the video and try it. Okay, so 3 over 4, 3 over 4, 3 over 4. So 3 over 4, let's start with 2 over 2. Again, you don't have to start with 2 over 2, but I guess that it's the lowest number. That's why I'm using that one. So 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. Boom, I've got my first one. What about 3 over 3? 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 3 is 12. What about 10 over 10 times 10 over 10? So let's do this. 10 over 10. So this will give me 30 over 40. So I have my three equivalent fractions. Three equivalent fractions. So I hope this video helped. You could ask questions by posting, your questions in the comments, and I could help you with the answers to that. Thank you.